English Edge podcast.
From the English Clarity Lab.
James, have you ever... Okay, brace yourself for a confession. Have you ever been in a conversation and the other person is talking and suddenly you realize you have absolutely no idea what they just said, but instead of stopping them, you just smile and nod?
Oh, Mary, you are calling me out big time today. I do this more than I care to admit. Just last week, our producer was explaining this super complex audio routing system, and my brain completely went blank. I just gave him the classic, oh yeah, totally, makes sense, while internally panicking.
It is the ultimate survival mechanism, right? The classic smile and nod. But the problem is it always backfires. Eventually, they ask you a direct question like, so what do you think of that plan? And you're just standing there looking like a deer caught in headlights.
Exactly, you're trapped. And today we are tackling exactly that. How do we ask for clarification without looking dumb? Because let's face it, the fear of looking foolish is what keeps us silent in the first place. But asking for help is actually a sign of an advanced speaker, not a beginner.
Oh, 100%. It shows you actually care about the conversation, like you're actively trying to connect, not just waiting for your turn to speak. So, James, let's look at the first big hurdle. When a native speaker is just talking way too fast and everything they say completely goes over your head.
Yeah, when the words are just a blur of sound. My absolute favorite strategy here is to validate them first and then ask for the breakdown. Instead of just saying what, which can sound a bit aggressive or lazy, you can say something like, I want to make sure I got that right. Could you say that last part again?
I love that so much. I want to make sure I got that right. It shifts the responsibility off your shoulders. You aren't saying, I am bad at English. You're saying, I care so much about your brilliant thoughts that I don't want to miss a single drop of them. It's pure flattery, honestly.
It really is. It's like a conversational Jedi mind trick. Another one I use when my own brain zones out, because let's be real, sometimes it's not the language, sometimes I'm just thinking about tacos, is to say, sorry, I missed that last word. Could you repeat it?
Tacos are a perfectly valid reason to zone out, James. No judgment here. But notice how James said, I missed that last word, or I didn't quite catch that. That phrase, to catch something, is so natural. It implies the word was flying by like a baseball, and you just missed the catch. It doesn't mean you're a bad player. It just means the pitch was fast.
Right. It's about speed, not your intelligence. Now, Mary, what happens when you understand the individual words, but the overall meaning is just confusing? Like when someone gives you directions or explains a task at work, and you know all the words, but your brain cannot connect the dots.
Oh, that's the workplace nightmare. You don't want your boss to think you weren't listening. Here's my go-to line for that. Just to make sure we're on the same page, you want me to do X first and then Y?
Oh, that is gold, to be on the same page. It sounds so professional and collaborative. You're inviting them into a partnership to double-check the facts.
Right. And if they did a really messy job of explaining it, because, let's be honest, native speakers are often terrible at explaining things clearly, you can ask them to break it down. You can say, could you break down that next step for me one more time?
Break it down. It literally sounds like you are dissecting a confect machine together. It makes the conversation feel like a team sport.
It really does. But okay, James, let's address the elephant in the room. What do you do if you already asked them to repeat themselves once and you still didn't understand them? That's the danger zone. That's when the urge to smile and nod becomes almost impossible to resist.
Oh man, the double ask. That is the ultimate test of human courage. You ask once, they repeat it, and it still sounds like alien gibberish. Your stomach drops. You think, if I ask again, they're going to think I'm totally incompetent.
I've been there. I think we all have. But here's the secret. Lean into the vulnerability. Just be honest, but keep it light and humorous. You can say something like, I am so sorry. My ears are completely failing me today. One more time, please.
Wow, that completely diffuses the tension. By blaming your ears or the room acoustics or the coffee not kicking in yet, you take the pressure off. It makes the other person laugh, and when people laugh, they relax. They don't mind explaining it a third time because you've made it a funny human moment.
Exactly. We have to remember that communication isn't a test where you get a grade. It's an exchange. And most people, if they're not total monsters, actually want to be understood. They'll happily repeat themselves if you show them that
you are genuinely trying to listen.
Oh, absolutely. Like, we forget that native speakers are just regular humans who are often incredibly self-absorbed or distracted. They're not grading your English, they're just trying to remember if they turned off their stove before leaving the house.
Exactly. Or they're thinking about those tacos you mentioned earlier. But okay, James, let's pivot to a slightly trickier environment. What happens when you're not in a cozy one-on-one conversation, but you're dropped into a group setting, like a casual happy hour with coworkers, or a noisy dinner party where 3 or 4 native speakers are tossing jokes back and forth like a ping pong match? That is a whole different level of terrifying.
Ugh, group conversations are the absolute final boss of language learning. It's so fast. One person starts a sentence, another person cuts them off with a laugh, a third person drops some hyper-specific pop culture reference from 2004, and suddenly you are completely marooned on an island of confusion.
Marooned on an island of confusion. Wow, poetic, James, but so accurate. And in those moments, you can't exactly raise your hand and say, "Excuse me, everyone, please pause the fun for 3 minutes so I can understand this idiom." It feels like you're ruining the vibe, right? You don't want to be the person who puts the brakes on the entire party.
Yeah, you feel like a buzzkill. So what do you do? Well, here is my secret weapon for group settings. And honestly, it's a strategy I use in my native language too, because my social battery drains fast. You don't try to clarify the whole conversation. You just pick one person next to you, the ally, and you do a mini clarification on the side.
Oh, the sidebar technique. I love this. Tell me how you phrase it.
So while everyone is laughing at a joke that went totally over your head, you just turn slightly to the person sitting next to you and whisper something like, "Wait, sorry, who are they talking about?" Or, "Hey, what did he just say? I missed the punchline."
That is genius because it's low stakes. You aren't interrupting the big group dynamic, but you are still staying engaged. And bonus points, it actually builds a closer connection with that one specific person because you're sharing a little private whisper on the side.
Right, and people love being the expert. When you turn to someone and quietly ask for a tiny bit of help, it triggers their helpful instincts. They feel good because they get to explain it to you, and you get to actually enjoy the joke instead of doing that awkward, fake, delayed laugh where you just mirror everyone else's facial expressions.
Oh God, the delayed laugh. I am so guilty of that. Everyone laughs, there's a 1 second delay, and then I go, yes, haha, very funny. Inside my head thinking, I hope no one asked me why that was funny. It's exhausting.
It's a full cardio workout for your brain, Mary. It really is. But let's look at another scenario that causes a lot of anxiety: the professional phone call or video meeting. Especially now with remote work, audio quality can be terrible. You've got background static, children crying in the background, or someone's microphone sounds like they are speaking from the bottom of the ocean.
Oh, the ocean mic is the worst. And when you couple bad audio with a second language, it's a recipe for pure panic. But the beautiful thing about this scenario is that you have a built-in, unblameable excuse: technology. Tech fails all the time and everyone accepts it.
Yes, use the internet as your scapegoat. Even if your internet is perfect and you just didn't understand the vocabulary, blame the Wi-Fi. You can say, "Sorry, you broke up a little bit there. Could you repeat that last sentence?"
You broke up a little bit. Let's unpack that phrasal verb because it's incredibly useful. To break up in this context means the audio signal was cutting out or glitching. It has nothing to do with ending a romantic relationship here, guys. Don't worry. It just means the connection was bad. And it is the ultimate face-saving phrase.
It's beautiful because it completely removes any question of capability. It's not an English issue, it's an infrastructure issue. Another great one for video calls is, "Sorry, the audio cut out for a second. Do you mind rephrasing that last point?"
Rephrasing. That is a very sophisticated word, but it's actually a great tool for learners. When you ask someone to rephrase something, you're not just asking them to say the exact same fast words again louder. You're gently asking them to use different, hopefully simpler words to explain the concept.
Exactly, because sometimes hearing the exact same idiom repeated at maximum volume doesn't help if you don't know the idiom. If someone says "we need to bite the bullet" and you don't know what that means, them shouting "I said we need to bite the bullet" into your microphone is just gonna scare you.
Right. You're just going to think, why are we biting ammunition? What is happening at this company? So asking them to rephrase gives them the cue to say, oh, I mean, we just need to face this difficult situation and do it. Suddenly, everything clicks. You're on the same page and your blood pressure goes right back down.
It really does change everything. You know, Mary, looking back at all these strategies, it hits me that the common thread here is just dropping the ego. We spend so much energy trying to look like we have it all together, when in reality, human communication is just messy for everyone, even for native speakers.
Oh, completely. We are all just stumbling through trying to make sense of each other. Like, honestly, half the time, native speakers aren't even tracking their own sentences. They start a thought, change their mind halfway through, throw in a random idiom, and just hope for the best. So, listeners, here is your challenge for this week. The next time you feel that sudden, overwhelming urge to just smile and nod, catch yourself, freeze, take a deep breath, and use just one of the phrases we talked about today.
Yes, just try a simple, just to make sure we're on the same page, or blame your ears and say, sorry, I didn't quite catch that last part. See how the other person reacts. I promise you, they won't look at you like you're dumb. They'll actually lean in and appreciate that you are truly trying to connect with them.
Exactly, because real fluency isn't about knowing every single word in the dictionary, James. It's about knowing how to navigate the gaps when you don't know a word. It's about staying in the game instead of sitting on the sidelines pretending you know the rules.
Well said, Mary. Beautifully put. Well, that is a wrap for today's session inside the English Clarity Lab. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us, confessing your conversational sins with us, and learning how to protect your sanity out there in the real world.
Wait, James, before we completely sign off, did you actually turn off your stove before we started recording? You looked a bit panicked earlier.
Oh no. Oh boy, I actually think I left the kettle on. Okay, guys, I gotta run right now. Bye.
See you next time, everyone. Keep it clear and stop smiling and nodding.